All right, what's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in and checking this stuff out, as always. So, I'm up here on a beautiful day on the homestead, and I just wanted to say a few things about the off grid agrarian renaissance that's happening around this world right now. So, for the first time ever in history, one single person can grow more food in a small space than was ever possible before. Not only that, but we also have new tools, new technologies, new resilient plant varieties. And all these things are coming together to create a completely new possibility for how we live on this earth and how we take care of ourselves, raise families, and create community. So we have actually now evolved beyond the need for these outdated systems and models of things like huge governments trying to manage everyone's lives, or huge businesses trying to run the economy, and the billionaire elites trying to own and control the world's population and all the resources. So we are beyond that now. We can grow all of our own food, we can produce our own energy and create our needs locally. And so, what this all leads up to is basically we're at a new renaissance. This is a new period in history where the entire paradigm of society is going to shift. And it's not exactly going to be encouraged or endorsed by the world leaders, because what they're interested in is money, making a profit, and running their business. That's what it all comes down to for those people. And so, whether they like it or not, we now have the power as the common people to run our own lives. And I'm not saying we need to go out and just overthrow the government or, anything crazy like that. But what I'm saying is just extremely simple. If we have this new opportunity now, why don't we just come together and take it? We don't have to live in a way anymore where you live cooped up in this box. You go out and you work for a wage and you make a little money so you can pay your bills, and then you go to the supermarket, you buy a bunch of fake food and pesticide ridden fake produce. We can actually create nourishing lives again. We can go back to having a more resilient form of society where people are actively creating their own culture and livelihood. And that's something that's been missing now for a long time, because this huge shift over to a consumption based society, which has basically stolen people's lives away from them. And it is also creating ongoing destruction of our environment. The planet, I'm not sure how much longer it can handle the levels of consumption and pollution that we are putting it through. So this off-grid agrarian renaissance that's happening is basically like the tipping point where we can break free from all of these systems that are controlling our lives and keeping us down. And I'm not sure if the world leaders are going to endorse it and allow this to happen, but it's up to us to create this and take it to its fullest possibilities. So I've been up here now for the last year. I'm living off the land. I have a few solar panels. I collect rainwater. I have my little ways of doing everything now. And I'm just one person doing it up alone on 20 acres in the woods. So if you get groups of people together and regions together to do this stuff, we can produce and create every single thing that we need. And so, like for me personally, I grew up on a conventional GMO corn farm and cow ranch. Um, I saw firsthand that the entire food system is completely toxic from every step of the way. This whole thing is just raping the planet. It's full of pesticides and chemicals and fertilizers, and the end product is just a toxic product that is basically keeping the population in a state of basically it's like making everyone stupid and dumbed down because they're not getting proper nourishment. And that is one of the most fundamental things in life, is taking care of your body, making sure that you're nourished and healthy. And so if the world leaders cannot properly feed and nourish the population, then it's up to us as the people to take it into our own hands and do it ourselves. And now, thanks to recent innovations in the field of small scale agriculture, um, growing your own food, living off the land, everything. I mean, there's all these new things that have just come into the picture, which make it possible and easier, now more than ever before, to live off the land. And so I want to just try and take these developments and accelerate them forward. And to take it to the point where it's not just a few people, here and there living out in the countryside, but looking at these developments in a bigger picture and seeing that if we connect all the dots and we do this in the right way, we can actually pioneer a completely new society on Earth. And it might be a little rocky at first because, of course, we have lots of details to figure out. But eventually, if we do this right and we try it out, we can make a completely new, alternative, independent, off-grid society where people are trading with each other again, and every region has its own little niche in economy where it creates a certain thing that everyone else needs. So we don't all have to just become farmers. We don't all have to, sacrifice all the comforts of life. But some of us are going to have to become the growers. And that's kind of where I'm trying to come in at, is figuring out all of these different systems that make producing food easier so we can actually nourish and feed and uplift our communities and the world population. I think that it is basically an atrocity what has happened to our planet over the last 100 years. We've been completely swindled and taken for a ride. And the response to that situation is going to have to come through a grassroots effort. We, the people, are going to have to take it upon ourselves to innovate and engineer a new way of life. And I think actually that the cards are in our hand. Things are in our favor now. We actually can do this because it's not like living in the 1800s. It's not like you have to go out with a horse and a plow and, make this like tough, depressing living. We don't just have to etch out this austere life anymore. We can combine and utilize all of these new tools and growing methods and these new plants that we have access to now. And we can bring these together and we can really start to network and create a completely new society. And I don't know if this totally sounds crazy to people or what, but for me personally, I don't even care anymore if it sounds crazy because I'm living it. And every day I wake up, I get to connect with nature. I get to learn more about myself. I get to learn more about how things work in the world, in the real world. This is the real world. The whole thing with industrialization and global economies and all of this stuff, that's not the real world. That is a completely fake, artificial, synthetic environment that was made by men to control people. And this, what I'm doing out here and what I know hundreds of others of homesteaders are doing out in this area is we're trying to fight back and push back against that because we don't feel that it is right to control people's lives by taking all their resources away from them and then selling it back to them. That is a overt form of slavery. So anyway, the off-grid agrarian renaissance, it's happening, it's unfolding. Every year I see more and more people doing it, and I meet more and more people all the time who are innovating different creative ways to solve the problems of being out off the grid, out in the land, and figuring out the details of how to make it work. And it's really coming together. I mean, people are moving out here to my area, the Ozarks. Every year I'm meeting more and more people are coming out here, buying up some land, and we're all getting to know each other and figuring out, okay, what can you do? What do you do? How can you contribute? What do you produce? And now it's really starting to crystallize into this thing that you can see. We're creating a micro society out here. And my main thing is growing food. And that's what I feel called to because, like I said, I grew up on a conventional GMO farm. I saw the horrors of how we were producing food, and that's what inspired me to grow up and try and create a different way of feeding ourselves, a more ecologically harmonious way, and a utilizing methods that have some longevity to them, because we can't just go out, till up the planet, spray a bunch of chemicals on it, dump fertilizer on it, and churn out something that we're calling food. That's not real food. Real food requires the sweat and the love and the blood of people going out onto the land, and it's their whole life. It's what they love to do, and they dedicate themselves to creating this nourishing byproduct that you can trade and give and sell to your neighbors in your area. And people feel that connection. They feel like, yes, we're doing it. We're all part of this circle, and we all have something to give. And when everyone gives something, then that's what creates our well-being and our higher standard of living. A higher standard of living does not come from an electric company and from a grid and from, satellite internet and all of this crap that is coming out now. A higher standard of living and a real quality of life, it comes from people creatively connecting with the land around them and producing their needs, growing their own food, and trading, connecting with your neighbors. That's what a real higher standard of living looks like. So anyway, if anyone wants to know more information about this stuff, and if you're interested in some of this stuff that I'm talking about, like these new tools and these techniques and these plant varieties that are coming out, and this stuff is all organic. It's not like we're hybridizing plants out here. This is a natural way you can combine different types of plants, and you can create hybrids that are more resilient. There's nothing genetically modified about this. There's nothing weird, artificial involved. This is a completely organic process. So anyway, good luck out there, everyone. Peace.